from the Silver Creek Studios for another episode of Get a Load of This. I'm Jarod.
I am Ryan.
And I got beer all over me. Son of a bitch.
I might have just spilled beer all over Joe's
Jarod
ball.
has showed up, and he went and they had a party foul and dropped a Keith Stone all over.
I can't even see my beer through this giant microphone.
Yeah, well, it's challenging. This is hard work.
It is.
Man. This is
Lots
not
of coordination.
Not for the amateur and
or the faint of heart.
And I started at like 5 o'clock. So
well, yeah.
Yes, I could tell by the text.
I think we might be a bad influence on him.
Yeah, we ruined it.
I didn't do this before you guys.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're
What's
good
that?
influence,
Drop your beer?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't learn that shit from me.
We're gonna have to get the cleaning crew in here.
We're just gonna get you one of those ones that hang around your neck like a float trip beer koozie.
He always looks like he's waiting on the boat.
Yeah.
That's tremendous.
Jarod, where's your beer? You're right here. I got my beer.
Fuck you guys. Take a drink.
He's taking his ball. He's going home.
So what? Well, so I tell you what, man. We have pondered this a great deal. You know what I want to do first off? For folks that never make it through to the end of one of our episodes, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Wait,
at
who's
Load This
not making
Podcast.
it through to the end of an episode?
I don't know. There might be
Apparently.
people that have a short commute. You know, these people, they maybe they got a short attention span, and they get back in their car at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they don't want to listen to our asses anymore. They want to listen to, I don't know,
then they're fools.
Bon Jovi or something like that. They are foolish.
They need a double dose of Jovi, John Bond
And
style.
you know what? Everybody unwinds in different ways, and maybe you don't unwind with Get a Load of This.
Yeah.
But in the event that you have never listened to the last 3 minutes of our podcast, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure you comment and rate our podcast on iTunes or wherever you happen to
Get
be
a load of this
listening to
podcast.
And by
on
the way,
YouTube.
I'd like to unwind with a nice Pinot Grigio.
Oh, yeah?
And I'll knot a beach towel up in about 7 or 8 knots. And I'll jam them clean in my ass.
Oh, wow.
About every 30, 35 minutes, I'll yank a knot out.
Yeah. And that's just a regular, keep you regular.
That's called unwinding.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Fair enough. Wow. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, the business of the...
It's a Scooby-Doo towel, in case anybody was wondering. And you really can't even tell what
the
color
Scooby
Velma
and
is
Shaggy.
anymore.
Oh,
It's the whole gang,
crew.
the whole gang.
Is the mystery machine on it.
It is.
Wow.
And
That's a big fucking towel.
Scrappy
I
do.
said a beach towel. No.
Scrappy didn't make the cut.
Yeah, Scrappy. This is pre-Scrappy, but
Harlem Globetrotters.
Got a wash.
no, but it's got what was the guy that did all the voices?
Casey Kasem.
No, not him.
Oh, he was the voice
He
of
was on
Scooby-Doo.
there, yeah.
No. He was a voice guy that would be on the cartoon every once in a while. He was kind of a heavy-set gentleman. And he was
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyhow, he's on it along with a couple of the monsters. And
All right.
yeah, they're all. I really don't see a lot of that.
And Scrappy Doo's on the washcloth you jam in your mouth.
Yeah, on the ball gag. He's on the ball gag. Actually, I wear a leather mask with a zipper mouth when I do that.
Well, I think all right. That's enough of that. I will have to say though,
it's called unwinding.
Along those lines,
the folks that rent Silver Creek Studios before we do apparently left a floater in the toilet. I mean,
a hog.
Yeah. So I mean, I know. I mean, we got to make money. Silver Creek Studios got to make money off of however they can. But
The Farm Report, apparently.
Yeah, the Farm Report podcast guys have got to get it together.
Well, they got it together, and they got it all in the toilet. Jeez Christ. Looks like the corn came up proper.
This is going downhill fast. Anyway, here's a topic for today. What is the topic for today, Jarod?
well, we started to get morbid with it. And I don't even know how we started talking about it, but we said,
We've been down a lot of roads.
what could you kill? I believe was the question.
That's where it started, yeah.
Besides a 12-pack, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a bag of cheeseburgers.
Well, I think, yeah, we started
But
with
we were
what
talking
could you
about-
kill, and then
yeah.
it turned into deviant behavior, and why are
Serial
there so many
killers,
serial killers
right.
in the 70s and 80s? And
So we're going to get
is
in all
that
this.
true?
Right.
Was there that many then? And yeah,
So
I'm
we'll
thirsty.
see where we get to with this.
Sorry, sweetheart.
We apologize for
Yeah.
anybody that's offended, but
Yeah, we're going to talk about death
really.
again.
Not really.
Yeah.
We're not that sorry. Honestly, I'm not going
No,
to lose any
not really.
sleep.
so I think at one point we were saying, what could you kill? Could you kill an animal, or even like your pet dog?
Yeah.
Could you do?
Well, I mean, let's start from the
you
top.
needed to. All right.
Let's start from the top. Could you kill a human?
Whoa. That's like
That's at the top of the
way
food
past.
chain.
Is at the bottom?
I thought top was dolphin. It's always dolphin.
Could you kill a dolphin?
Yeah, especially if you got on land.
Yeah. Well, motherfuckers start walking at me. Yeah. They're especially talking.
Right. They have
Forget that squeak and shit.
Yeah, right. Well, they're smarter than we are.
There was a Simpsons episode about the dolphins took over. Yeah. Fuck that. I'd be killing some dolphins. No, so where do we start now?
Well,
ants?
I don't know.
I mean, obviously we all step
start.
on ants. We step on ants. We step on bugs. You know, I got that gun that shoots flies out of minute. What's it? It's called bug assault. It's the greatest invention ever.
Nice.
But it's a gun, and you pour table salt in the top of it, and it's spring loaded. You know, and you cock it, and it loads a little spring fired thing, and it drops a little bit of table salt into the chamber, if you will.
I've never heard of this.
And you aim it at a fly, or any other bug.
Fly.
But it's generally intended for house flies because they're hard to swat, and
good eating. Though.
But you can shoot them with a salt gun.
Well, and the beauty of it is that the worst case is you got about 200 granules of salt that are now the mess, and then you go and you sweep up the fly and you call it a day.
Yeah.
Some people may call that inhumane, but I like killing flies. I don't like the little pricks buzzing around me.
No, I don't either.
So I kill. We all kill.
Yeah, we can kill flies.
I think most people kill ants, flies. We'll kill a bee, spiders. Yeah, no
Is
problem.
that because a fly doesn't have personality?
I don't know. Where does a fly go? Does a fly go to heaven? Was it a good fly or a bad fly? I don't know. This is a good question.
Superfly. That
might have been Superfly. Well, we are all over the place. So anyway, that's kind of the vein we're going down, though. It's like
so. Is there a cutoff? So it seems like for the most part, none of us have a problem killing insects. So
Absolutely
a fly
not.
or an
Absolutely
ant
not.
or a wasp or
Snake.
a spider.
I would kill a snake.
Spiders
Yeah,
are
I'd
kill a
kill
rat.
snake.
Kill a mouse.
How do you start getting into mammals, though?
I would kill a squirrel.
Okay.
No problem with killing a squirrel.
As long as there's no one else around, or I'll still tell.
In a hunting situation, or just hey, there's a squirrel, step on it.
Well, no, I wouldn't. Well, I mean, if he was fucking with my shit,
He's
then-
fucking with you.
Yeah. If he's
Step off, squirrel.
If he's in the house when he shouldn't be.
No, I mean, I think if it's a invasive creature, so and squirrels can be, I mean, if you got a bird feeder or whatever, those little assholes are all over the place. Another one is what was it, moles? Everybody has mole trails in their yard,
right? So what about a ferret? Would you kill a ferret?
I don't know. Ferrets can be pets. Now you're getting
right.
somewhere
I know.
here.
Okay,
Ferrets
you can
have a
start
little bit
crossing
more
out.
Yeah, I don't.
What about a gerbil?
Oh,
A pet gerbil or a wild gerbil?
we're gonna have to ask Richard Gere about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Are these medicinal gerbils?
No, but I think I
right.
think,
So there's a cutoff point of like, oh, I would never do that.
well,
You would never just kill a puppy.
no,
But
no.
now what if it was your pet and it
Well,
was on its way out?
it's an anti-Semite puppy, then I might take issue.
How do you know?
You can tell. You can just fucking tell. You just look at him. You're like, I know where you're coming from.
Do like a Zeke Wolf.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I know your pet. I know your tat dog.
So you put that one down, huh?
Yeah, that one's got to go.
Well, good for
No,
you.
so
Joe.
I mean, I've put a dog down,
Right.
but out of
Was it
humane-
traumatic?
Oh, it was horrible. It was the worst
Yeah.
thing I've ever done. I mean, it was maybe not the worst thing I've ever done, but it was up there. I mean, it was just horrible.
we all know it wasn't the worst thing you've ever done.
No, it was definitely traumatic and it was sad and he was my firstborn. I mean, he was my homie. And so that sucks.
Who
So
are you talking about? Montoni?
Montoni, yeah.
You shot
I
Montoni?
didn't shoot him, but I had him. I took him to the vet and they put a needle in
Oh,
his
I'm
ass.
not
that
talking about
doesn't
that. We did that with
count.
Charlie Bear too.
Well, I
You
know.
kidding me? That's
But still.
That is not
no.
the
You
same.
euthanized that dog. I'm talking
All
about
right.
pumping a slug in their face.
All right, yeah, I know. I never yellered at a dog or nothing.
Yeah,
like that.
I killed a dog once.
But
I mean,
in 18
Right.
in
I was about to
1800
come over there and give you a hug.
in 1800 that same dog, my option would have been a shotgun to the back of the head, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, but this wasn't 1800.
Well, that's true. Fair point.
So I've got a story. Some friends of mine, good friends, had a dog. They got it from, I don't know if it was from a pound or somebody else that had issues with the dog, and it was biting. And so they realized, this was almost kind of a lost cause. It had some other health issues and stuff. I don't think it was dying,
Right.
but they said, this dog is biting people, and between that and the medical issues, it's time to put this dog down. So they made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking it to the vet and having a nice needle in it like Ryan, they lived out on a farm. They took it outside, and my buddy he was a teenager at the time, but he and his grandpa went out together with the dog, and he was gonna put it down. It was sad, but at the same time, I guess they felt like it needed to be done.
Right.
And so I think my buddy had I want to say a pistol, and they kind of said their goodbyes to the dog and had it look the other way, and he puts the gun up to the dog, shoots it in the back of the head, and
it lived.
This dog took off running.
Oh, shit.
And had a bullet rattling around in its head and was suffering. And of course, instantly, my friend was just like, oh my God, what did I just do? This, he was freaking out, panicking,
right.
And his dog's running away on their property. They got all this land, and it took off. So then, of course, his grandpa's there and was like, God damn it.
Now I gotta go kill the fucking
son of a whore.
Right.
We gotta
Jesus
find
Christ.
this damn thing.
Yeah. And so I
don't
think,
like running.
yeah, it was, now talk about traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
That was awful. And eventually
A little different than the vet visit, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Eventually they
oh,
found it, got it, put it down, and it was terrible. But that's what I will never not think of that. And now you won't either.
Yeah, no, that's
the
Kind
next
of
time
like
that I have to put an animal
myself, and
down.
Irene when he kills the cow in the middle of the road, and he shoots the shit out of it, and it still doesn't die.
Yeah.
But see, I think that's the difference between sanity and insanity. It's like Sid from Toy Story, right? If you can blow up the toys, you see the deviance. You see the behavior is not normal. Well, so if a guy's kicking puppies, or a young man is kicking puppies, or just being mean to whatever it is, if it's a squirrel, if it's a ferret, if it's whatever,
third grader, whatever.
Fucking report that son of a bitch, right? I mean,
well, and they say that about psychopaths, serial killers, right? One of their tendencies is to cruelty to animals, right?
Right.
So you can identify it at an early age.
But see, then this kind of gets to
unless they hide that shit.
Well,
I mean, they can, they run off in the woods and they find something in the woods.
Right.
Sure, but if you find out about it.
But see, that goes back to kind of the theory that we had, is like, why were there so many serial killers in the 60s and 70s? Or let's take that leap of faith.
So we asked that question. Was that a thing? For one, I guess I felt like it kind of was. It seems like there was this big surge in the 60s, 70s, and 80s of serial killers.
I think it's media. I think it's all media driven.
Joe sort of thinks that maybe it's always been that way. We just started hearing about it more.
Right.
So you're saying there was as many before 1960?
Well, I don't know if you would call it as many, or maybe you do. But I think with telecommunication becoming more and more in the 60s and 70s, I think the word got out better.
Right. Well, it still doesn't break down the kind of my theory in my head that, well, these people that are growing up on farms and having to go out and kill the hog or kill the chicken or kill the dog or kill the cow, cows become family members too in a lot of these, farming households, that's okay. They're like, well, hey, Billy's really good at killing hogs. Let's send him out. And
that's how Texas Chainsaw Massacre started. Because Leatherface apparently was a pretty good killer.
Yeah, and a butcher,
and a hell of a butcher.
Yeah,
but so then
Deliverance too, I think, started with Squeal Like a Pig.
Well, that's a different kind of butcher.
A whole other love for animals.
They were butchering anuses at that point. Ned Beatty's in reference.
That guy has to be scarred for life.
Ned Beatty.
Yeah,
I think
he's still alive.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
I think so.
I didn't realize how many movies Ned Beatty and Burt Reynolds did with each other.
Yeah, you're right.
Those dudes were in a lot of movies.
A Stroke
together.
Race. Wasn't there a Stroke Race?
He might have been.
Is that the one whenever this is should be a
chicken suit?
Chicken suit.
Yeah, he had to wear the chicken suit. Stroke Race was a great movie.
Yeah.
A very underrated movie for.
I agree. Stroke Race was born to. It had Lonnie Anderson in it. Stroke Race was born to race.
Had a Mean Streak 10 Feet Wide.
That's right. That's a great song. Yes. Anywho, we are way off the fucking track. But no, yeah. So I think going back to the farm folk, being raised out there where it's just natural that it was part of
So you're trying to
life.
tell me that the beef industry is what created all of our serial killers?
No. I'm saying that the people that grew up on a farm and just it was.
So that was one possible theory of
No
ours, was
issue.
that maybe like our parents' generation that grew up either on a farm or you knew people with a farm or whatever, that you had a lot of people that were willing to go out and slaughter an animal, whether it's a
Right.
chicken or a goat or
Couldn't
whatever,
wait.
right?
Got up early before the sun gate up.
Right. But my question of that is, people have been slaughtering animals for all of time.
But it's different
So
today than it was
Why
then.
in the 60s and 70s did
Well,
suddenly...
because those folks grew up in the teens and the 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and they grew up in farming or whatever, I just think that there has to be a little bit, and obviously the sane people are excluded from this, but the people that are a little unstable, there's an acceptance of loss of life.
Mm-hmm.
Not human life, but in their mind, like
Mm-hmm.
Mom and Pa said it's okay that I go out and kill this hog, and they just don't value a life, and then that just transgresses.
That's where you're coming from with the 60s and 70s?
That's kind of where I was heading with this.
Wow.
And that just transgresses into well, if it's okay to kill this hog, and maybe I get a thrill out of it if I'm a deviant mind, I get a thrill out of killing the pig or the chicken or whatever, and it unfolds. They get that thrill, they get that taste of it.
So
Maybe-
Ted Bundy never grew up on a farm.
Well, I'm not saying it's a perfect theory.
And neither did any. The Zodiac Killer was San Francisco. Not a lot of farms in the
I'm
San
not saying it's a perfect
Right,
theory.
Cerrone. I agree.
So the theory being people that maybe didn't grow up that way, but were around it some. Like maybe they were city folk that went to visit their grandparents
Right.
or something like that. Because if you lived that way your whole life, for the last 2,000
any
years or
derelict
whatever.
kid that I grew up with, I mean, not any, but there were derelict kids that didn't have regard for pets,
Right.
and they would abuse them. I mean, I know. I got a horrible story about friends of mine who had another guy over, and they were playing with the little sisters. I don't know, it was a gerbil or a hamster or whatever the hell it was, and the kid's holding it by the tail by the back door. It's like, hey, you want me to kick it in the backyard? And everybody laughs because they think he's joking, and the motherfucker does it and punts this fucking rodent, pet rodent of this dude's little sister, into the fucking backyard. That guy should be on a watch list.
Those are the ones you gotta
sure.
watch
I mean,
out for.
That's just a no regard for
Right.
So-
it's not humanity, but it's close enough.
Life of any kind,
life. Yeah.
So whatever became of that guy?
I don't know. I don't keep up with that dude.
Oh.
But no, I'm just.
We should look him up after
It
this.
boils down to just deviant behavior and what's the catalyst for it. I guess
Right.
maybe what I'm getting at. I don't know.
Farms, apparently.
I don't know, maybe it's
Right.
farming. Maybe we don't know what the statistics
Yeah.
were pre 1930.
So
another
a completely...
thing that rolls through my head is war.
Yeah.
We had World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam.
What is it good for?
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing.
but it's like these guys come back and obviously there's a lot of shit rattling around in their brain. But again, that valuing human life is in question.
So here's a completely different theory, but I just thought of it. So it seems like a lot of the serial killers are men murdering women, right? So the attacks... No?
Oh.
You disagree with that?
No. Yeah, I totally disagree with that. And some, yes. Zodiac killed couples.
Yeah.
The Night Stalker, he would kill couples.
I think he started with women, though, and then
Yeah.
Then
I think he did a couple
moved on
women.
to couples and stuff. But okay.
And
well,
then like Dennis Rader.
that
he
blows
was,
up my theory then.
I mean, they're out there. Don't get me wrong.
Well, let me give my theory.
I'll give a
before
stereotype
we,
of it.
Yeah. So I guess I feel like there's many more women attacked in these cases than couples or just men or whatever. But so that being said, maybe it had something to do with the whole, kind of women's movement and feminism and women having more rights and more prominence in the workplace and in the home and all this stuff. And maybe there were men that couldn't deal with that or didn't like the change in how, and decided to put their hate towards women more than other people did. Because it seems like that's the time frame when all that was happening.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I think a serial killer, it's almost in them. It's just there. It's just a. It's
well,
just
I agree,
a thing.
but it needs to have something to bring it out.
I think it's just there. Just opportunity brings it out.
But don't you think there are some psychopaths and what could be serial killers walking amongst us who just never acted on it? They've never had anything make them go through it. I totally
agree. But from the killers past, most of them are crimes of opportunity. A lot of those are hookers. You know, they would pick. They'd act as a John and pick up hookers. It's crime of opportunity. I definitely don't think that it was politically charged by any of them because, I mean, you didn't have. The women weren't. I mean,
I don't think it's politically charged. I think what Jarod was. I think what he's saying is that there, and I think today there are men who just they want to keep everybody below them, you know, and they can't handle any movement that threatens their position of power.
Yeah, but they most likely those men don't have power.
Well, yeah, maybe, but
unless
who knows what's going through
no
their
one's
mind,
going to get into the pool in the front yard. You want to swim? You swim in the backyard. I mean, they do.
Now the flip side of that is like Gacy was killing young men and boys or whatever. But that was obviously a sexual thing, which I think a lot of these murders are sexual things. But
so here's a question for you: Can a serial killer be rehabilitated?
No,
you don't. I don't think so.
Not in my mind, because I don't think that it's. I don't think it's a learned thing. I think it's embedded.
They will kill again.
Just the same way as. I don't feel that being gay is something that you choose. I think you were born gay or you become gay, you know, once you realize your sexual identity.
Tell us about that, Ryan.
Hey, whoa.
I don't think you turn gay like the Wolfman. I mean, that shit just don't happen.
Right.
And so how do you rehabilitate that? You can't rehabilitate that. Same way as I feel, church and a lot of sit down and with a hooker and she'll change.
By no means are we drawing parallels between serial killers and homosexuality?
No, that's not what I mean. But I'm drawing a parallel between you cannot rehabilitate or change something that's
your
I would
identity. Agree with that. Heterosexuality, right?
Yeah,
same thing. Like
right.
So I don't think that you can.
There's been a few times where Joe's tried to push me towards the homeless, and it's almost worked.
I've almost got him changed, but
it's working.
Yeah, it's. I think you can,
I agree.
You
I don't
change
think
on a learned thing. I learned to drink beer. Yeah, I could get to the point where I never drink beer again.
Yeah,
it's not part of me. So
yeah,
I do think that going through with that act of whether it's serial killing or just psychopathic behavior
or farming,
right? That
apparently.
Is triggered by something. So you could say that you learned to do that, like you didn't do it before, and now you're doing it. But you always had that capability within you.
It was always
It was always there. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You just didn't act on it at a certain point, and then when you did act on it, it's like you realized, "Yep, this is who I am."
Well, right, and that'd be an interesting study to see. And we can't talk to most serial killers, but to interview them and say, at what point did you decide? Or did you decide, period, that you enjoyed killing people?
And they'll probably say something to the effect of,
when my dad beat me whenever I was 9, or
I don't know about that, but I think a lot of them have this assertion of dominance that they want to project onto another person. Most of them, if you go back and look at their life, it's in a constant upheaval. So it's like the one thing they can control. So then they go out, they get in their truck, they start riding
the back roads.
The hooker roads.
Right.
They pop in I got one more silver dollar, and I'm not gonna let them catch me. No,
who's that? Skinner?
Not gonna let them catch the midnight ride.
No, who is that?
I think that's Seeger.
No, it's not Bob Seger.
But so they ride around listening to that song.
Why is that song?
That's the fucking Murderer's Row. That's Murderer's Row. And
not gonna let them catch the Midnight Rider.
In a 1978 Fury, and they pull up and they're like, "How much for the night?" What they mean to say is, how much for your life?
Right.
But, yeah.
That's the Allman Brothers. You're bashing the Allman Brothers band.
I'm not
So do you
bashing
think that it had anything to do with the 70s sedans at the time? Like they
I
were
think a lot of
so
it does
fucking
come from
ugly.
the-
Because you could fit so
that you
many
just
bodies in the
couldn't stand
trunk.
it.
Yeah,
Like
and they would always say that. You can fit 4 bodies in this trunk. And you're like, well,
selling
I
point.
don't believe you. I'm going to do it.
So we should see an influx because Teslas, as we've already established,
Right. You got
have a
2
lot
trunks.
of room. A lot of room for dead bodies in a Tesla.
Yeah, but
You
the
can like put a whole body in the back and a chopped up body
you
in the
could
front
cut,
trunk.
you cut one in, you fold it in half. Yeah, you can fit one.
now,
in.
now it's turned into Jenga.
You can be gone like that.
Tetris, yeah.
So, that will never happen. With the technology that we have today, I don't think serial killers will ever be what they were. You might get a serial killer like a spree, like
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Like
There's some crazy motherfucker out there be like, oh yeah, motherfucker? Let's go.
Oh yeah, and he'll get about 3 days, and that's it.
Yeah.
You ain't
I
gonna.
don't know.
Yeah,
I think you can get away with it.
Oh, you think some asshole could send a letter to the police and they're not decipher this? You're freaking no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
I think that maybe it won't be a letter, but it'll be a higher tech version of what we've seen in the past, where it's a cat and mouse game, and these
I mean, we
people
had
are
that
so
shit down in
fucked
Yeah,
up.
but the fucking cat got
Down
a
in
lot
Texas,
better.
that guy
Well,
was
true.
blowing up people in 4 different attacks.
Right.
I mean, that's a sort
Well,
of a
that
serial
highway
serial
shooter,
killer.
you know, up in Washington. I
Mhm.
mean, they were on the run for a couple months.
And
Killed-
how did they catch that motherfucker?
they made a mistake, didn't they? Or-
No, you talking about
they were shooting out of the hole in the trunk.
They
yeah.
fold the license plate down.
Yeah,
Muhammad
was a hole.
Salvo or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
kid,
Okay,
teenager.
So they rented a house in Seattle prior, and they would shoot at this stump. Well, when the word got out that they were looking for this type of person, the guy who owned that house in Seattle, mind you, this shit was happening in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I had a guy renting this house that used to shoot at this stump all the time. And so they went out, and there were still
did forensics
and
on
forensics, and they pulled bullets out of that stump, and that's how the ballistics came back.
Shit down.
So then that's how they knew who they were looking
shit.
for. Yeah, look it up.
Man, I'm
But
telling
still,
you,
they killed a bunch of people and were on the run for months.
No, I don't think it was months, guys. Check it out. It might have been weeks, and that would have been. Now think about this. That would have been in
What were they called? What was the name? What
it was the Beltway Sniper,
That's right.
and that would have been in like 02, maybe no, it was 02. So
I don't know. I think you're
and
going to have
forensics was
serial killers.
So it was October. It started October 2nd, 2002.
Jesus,
it was
Joe.
over October 24th, 2002 when they
Weeks.
caught. So yeah, I mean almost a month. 3 weeks. Yeah, 21 days or 22 days. John Ala Muhammad and
So not
what-
years and years.
Like
right,
boys
and what
involved
made them to where they got along that long, got along with that or got away with it that
Yep.
long. It was all random.
yeah.
There was no way to tie the perpetrator to the victim. The way they did it was
Yeah, they cut out a hole over the license plate through the trunk, and they were I mean, Jesus Christ, that's deviant fucks, man.
well, they wanted to create chaos.
So you said something before we hit go on this about now why there won't
Was it my
be
beach towel? Or?
no, about why there won't be serial killers today and why we have mass shootings. That
I don't think there'll be serial killers on the same. I can't even think of the word, on the same level as we had in the 60s and 70s, and even the 80s, and all the way up till Dahmer in the 90s. I don't think we'll have that because of the forensics and the way that we
and the
can
media,
catch, and the media and social media.
and all that.
It gets out too fast. People talk. I mean,
And so now you think the deviants are choosing to just
well, yeah. So now I think when they're at that point, they get to that breaking point. They have one big thing.
last hurrah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think we're seeing a Pulse nightclub or a Vegas, and which is a shame because it's still the same scare. Okay, so Son of Sam, which would have been in New York in '77, had the entire city scared for months.
Right.
Okay, when that shit popped off, and you can't go to concerts,
Right.
or you can't go into a movie theater. or you can't. That's the same hysteria. It's the same
fears.
fear.
Yeah.
It's on a smaller scale in a sense.
Interesting.
I shouldn't say smaller. It's on a more isolated scale because it gets stopped that much faster. The asshole who did that shit in Aurora, Colorado, stood around.
Yeah.
He stood there by his car smoking a cigarette in full riot gear.
Right.
And they thought he was a cop until one of the women, a woman cop, walked up to him and said, "What are you doing?
Right.
Who are you?" And then that's when he got him. He was just over there laughing. Yeah. And he had stupid orange hair. He thought he was the Joker.
Yeah, he's a crazy son of a bitch. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, it creates hysteria.
Which I think is something that
we were young men in the 70s with Son of Sam and with all these things.
We were young men I was a fucking baby.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We were babies. We don't remember this stuff. We didn't live it firsthand.
I only know it from that.
Right. You know it from history and from forensic files and that sort of thing. My question is that it's to our parents and to the older set out there, is that how long did that hysteria last, even after he was caught? Maybe because now we see these events happen, at Pulse nightclub or Aurora or whatever it might be, or school shootings. It's so fleeting that we just kind of, there's the prayers, thoughts and prayers. There's a Twitter hashtag. There's
I think it was fleeting back then too.
You think it was?
In fact, I think it was more fleeting to a point that it tried to not get talked about because it was not norm. It was taboo, if you will. And I think at the time there were still more morals, so to speak, and that should have been unspoken.
Right.
You go back into the 50s, spousal abuse was at an all-time high.
Well, it was rampant.
I mean, open the onion of Leave It to Beaver, and Ward would come home every day and have a highball, and his subservient wife was there, and they didn't show that on TV, but yeah, he probably had a bad day, and he probably took it out on her.
Did she have dinner ready?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, his kids were fucking vagrants, and they hung out with a criminal.
Well, yeah, Eddie Haskell was not a good kid. Lumpy Rutherford was
he was all right. But what I'm saying is you look back now, and all these older gentlemen now, because they were young then, in the 50s and early 60s, all these altar boys being touched by priests.
That's a whole other backroads.
Yeah. But yeah, so so what Joe's saying is that Ward Cleaver was a son of a bitch.
Oh, I think he beat her.
You think so?
I think the person, not Ward Cleaver, but that 50s
personified individual.
Yeah.
I like to think she was into it.
Yeah, you were a little hard on the beaver. But yeah, I think that 50s man of the house. Yeah.
Well, see,
he was the same thing as a serial killer in the sense that he wanted to assert his dominance, and Ward's
the 50s
persona,
house husband.
Yeah, Ward was Ward for 35 minutes a week.
He was a great father. Goddamn,
he was a fucking douchebag. Oh yeah, both his kids turned out like shit. You
kidding
kidding me?
No, I mean, Wally and the Beeve. We don't know what the history held for them, but
yeah, we did. The new Leave It to Beaver.
I was going to say
they were still living in the same fucking house.
Who saw that?
What was the name of the sequel?
I seen it.
You and 4 other people.
Was it just the new? It was like Return to Beaver. Or what was it?
It was called the All New Leave It to Beaver, and I watched.
We watched it. Yeah.
Jared, Return to Beaver is a whole different
Return
movie.
to the Beaver.
But yeah, and Beaver still wore the fucking hat. He looked like an asshole. Yeah, he never grew up. No, fuck them both. They're wrong.
Well, no, I like to think that 50s households were. Yeah, I'm sure that there's no doubt that there was some shitty behavior by the men of those houses. But I also like to think of, you look at A Christmas Story, or I look at the Beaver.
Well, that was the 40s.
Well, either way, it's still the same the same social makeup, right?
Because that's how it was sold to us, man. That's still how we're,
Well, yeah, but I mean, I like to think that it was like, that's the way it was. I mean, the man went out, he provided, the mother stayed home, and she mothered, and she took care of the house, and she took care of the babies, and it was a happier life.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know.
It was all fucking under. That's how gossip was so huge back then. All these fucking people. Oh, because they all went to church, And so mom show up with a black eye after a Saturday night of fun. And
I mean, certainly those things happened. I'm not going to dispute
I'm not saying
you.
every household was like that.
Yeah, but I would say that by and large,
no, I won't say by and large.
The 50s American household was just, it was no different than today. There's just as much abuse in the house.
Well, I totally agree, but in today's house, you can have a voice. Women have a voice like no other, and no other time do they have a voice like they do now. Kids, for what God reason they should, but these little bastards all have a voice too, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. But they get on there and get on their social media and shit. Well, whereas before,
everybody should be able to report abuse. There's no doubt. There's no question about that.
But I think the problem was way more than it used to be. I think the times that everyone thinks we're nostalgia and go back to were just as bad as the times are now. It's just that now people say shit.
Fair enough. I'll take that for what it is. I like to. I guess in my mind, I like to look at today and the 50s as. There's bad shit. I mean, and that just goes to the theme of this whole episode: deviant behavior, how fucked up people are. I think that for the most part, people in whether it's the 30s or the 50s or the 80s or the 20 teens or the 2020s are going to be, for the most part, good people. There will be abusive assholes. There's going to be abusive women. There's going to be abusive men. There's abusive children nowadays that I don't think that existed 40 years ago.
Oh, hell yeah. I watched Live PD last week. 33-year-old son beating his mom and dad.
Yeah.
He was beating his mom and dad.
I think 33, though.
Yeah, well,
that's not a child. Yeah, but I think there's abusive children.
Well, he's living in those. I do too.
I think there's teenage children that are abusive to their parents, and the parents just don't have any. Can only watch Jerry Springer for 5 minutes. I mean, there's these kids that go on there that just run shit. And
well, that Catch Me Outside fucking kid.
Right. I mean, there's just
Catch Me Outside. Bitch, I catch you outside. I swear to God, I'll stomp a mud hole in your ass. I don't give a shit how old you think you are.
So my daughter won't let me eat crunchy foods.
Yeah,
well, that's abuse.
That is abuse. House. That's not. That's uncalled for. No, I think that I don't know. I guess what I'm boiling it down to is that we're not far different. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on the farming thing. Probably. Now the more I sit here and noodle on it, maybe that's flawed. I think war has an impact on the rate of homicidal maniacs. Not to say, I mean, I thank our veterans. I think they're great people, but I think that it fucks with a lot of people.
Well, I think they get used way past what a human should be used for.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know about it today's. I don't know how it is in today's military, but the soldiers in Vietnam, Korea,
they were asked to do shit.
They were asked to do a lot of shit. No, right, totally. And honestly, the first Gulf War. I mean, these guys are probably going through the same thing.
Yeah.
They were asked to do, I mean, those people were surrendering. Yeah. A lot of those people were surrendering, and they were still asked to do things that. So.
Yeah, it's a ugly world, but my point is, I think that again, by and large, society is not as fucked up as we think it is. We tend to focus on the negative, and we focus on
one bad apple ruins
the
a
most
bunch.
Deviant folks out there. And the Son of Sams and the Jeffrey Dahmers and the Beltway snipers of the world. Yeah. But in reality, they're the outliers, and they're called deviants for a reason.
Sure,
deviant from the norm, and it's a scary fucking world. We're not going to fix it. No, I don't think. It's not fixable.
No.
Period. The folks that go out, and I don't want to turn this into a gun thing or whatever, but the folks that go out there and say, well, if we just take away all the weapons, if we just take away this and we take away that, and we do background checks and we do this and we do that, which we already do, if we do that,
criminals don't follow that
though. No, there are deviant sons of bitches out there, and daughters of bitches out there, and there's children out there that are just crazy motherfuckers.
Never heard that before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because sons of bitches. Sure. There's crazy women out there too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that will
Eileen Warnos.
but there's just crazy people. Period.
Sure.
There's no way around it. You're not going to fix it with law.
You could go get 12 legal guns, have them at your house, then go and have a shitty time at the movies.
Yeah.
And get food brought to you that's wrong. And by the time you get home, all 12 of your guns are stolen by a deviant.
Right.
That's going to use them to commit murders or chaos
and maybe
or whatever.
They worked at the gun store, and they know that you got it, and they know. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, look, we just give a plan to somebody,
or they just come across it.
Right.
So all the legal guns, that's great, and I'm all for all the legalities, and people should have to go through or whatever. But criminals don't go through them. Right. So what good are they?
Right. And you're not going to remove all guns from everybody's hands.
No.
Anyway, yeah, this isn't a gun episode.
You can't stop deviant behavior, but if everybody would
if you bring back spankings.
If they would just listen to this podcast, get a load of this, then maybe we can stave off the next, mass shooting or serial killing.
Man, wouldn't that be great if we stopped the next mass shooting? We stopped it, like the guy. He's like, I was going to do it, and you fucking people.
We could do like a WKRP thing. Remember, it was a Dr. Fever, Dr. Johnny Fever. Yeah. He talked a suicide guy off the fucking ledge or something. I think that was an episode. But yeah, if you're thinking about doing something stupid, shoot us an email. We'll talk you out of it.
The next deviant you come across, just share our podcast with them, and
just listen to the sultry sounds of our voice.
Yeah, all my coughing.
We'll calm you right down.
Well, how can they get a hold of us?
Well, I suppose they could check us out on the social media sites at Load This Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. They could also shoot us an email, loadthispodcast@gmail.com. We're going to go get Joe some AIDS medication or something. I don't know what he's got going on here. I'm dealing with some of the same stuff.
I'm going to jump in a pool of bleach.
Yeah, Jared's going to go into the Silkwood shower.
I don't feel sick. It's this fucking cough, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's rough.
This is probably the beginning of the apocalypse.
It might be. If you start chewing your arm off, or Jared's, I'll make a call.
Then beat me with a guitar.
Yeah. Well, you're going down. So well, thanks for listening. Make sure you like us and share us and tell your friends and comment and rate us on iTunes and keep listening. Tell your friends. We appreciate everybody out there.
Yes, we do. We do.
Until next time, I'm Jarod.
I am Ryan.
Fuck the cuz, this is Joe.
And get a load of this.
Son of a
Christ.
Fucking
don't delete this.
This all stays on. Dad. Son of a
Use the towel.
Bitch.
Use the purple
Here's
towel.
the towel. Purple towel. Rubber. I'll tell you what, that's a goddamn shame right there.
Jesus Christ. This is why we don't let the engineer drink.
Yeah. Someone put something on that boy.
Did you get it on you?
I got a little on my ankle, but I'll be fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's already absorbed. It's already, my body just soaked it right up.
Hey, do me a favor. Keep tapping. Keep tapping.
And we're back from the Silver Creek Studios. Jarod is cleaning his balls.
Yeah.
Joe's balls.
Joe's balls. Luckily, I'm out of harm's way.
Keep tapping and whistle something.
We may keep this. I don't know. Well,
it's not there. We will never be able to keep this.
Oh, we can keep it. It's recording.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, this is good shit right
this
here.
This is fantastic.
Quality, radio gold.
Quality. Thanks,
so,
Jarod. Now the towel's not folded back properly.
You need a new beer now, Jarod?
Oh, hell yeah, he does.
Yeah, go get a new beer.
Go get you another one, J-Rod. He's going to get another one.
You want one out of here? I got one here for you.
I got one. Yeah, grab one out of mine. Bottles. Maybe you won't drop it.
He's got to do the Stones.
Oh, pocket full of stones.
Well, I think we do save this.
You
we
clip
air
this
off and you,
You can air this.
Outtakes.
Bloopers. Something.
In
Bloopers.
5,
4, 3, 2, and welcome back to iCarly.
My daughter used to watch iCarly all the time.
Oh yeah, we all did
too.
Yeah, it was a good show. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, look, they think about
compared to some of that shit.
There was no sitcoms for them. I mean,
that was it.
The sitcom era had died.
But the brother in that show was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Spencer.
Yeah,
he was fun.
Him and then Roderick from the Wimpy Kid movies.
I don't know about that.
What was the two?
Diary of the Wimpy Kid?
I know the movie, but I don't know.
Oh, Roderick, the older brother.
Okay.
Loaded Diaper. He was in a band called Loaded Diaper. It's fucking great. He was great.
What was the two twins, the twin boys, the blonde?
Oh, that's the Spruce Kids.
don't know.
Zach and Cody, Sweet Life.
Sweet
That
Love
might
is
be,
good.
yeah.
And then they were on a boat. At the end.
Right? That was fucking terrible. I couldn't stand whenever the
Steve
kids would
McGurk,
have that on.
Loved it.
Are we going to start over here?
Do you want to start?
Let it roll.
I'm going to edit the shit out of this
kick
later.
This off.
So.
Let's do a 5, 4, 3.